interest in our first series. Faith healer Lorraine Ham works alongside GPs at her local clinic. Her patients think she's working wonders.
Until next time, good night.
The response to the last programme was enormous. The credits hadn't gone up before the phone started to ring. By the Monday, letters were pouring in. Before the end of the week, the postman was actually bringing them in sacks.
Lorraine was overwhelmed by more than 20,000 letters. With the help of other healers, she began the long process of answering them all. One letter was from Christine Drake, who was desperate for help, but not for herself.
And the second son, Reese, is now
I was watching Strange But True with my daughter Alison, and after the programme had finished, I thought I would contact Lorraine Ham to see if she could alleviate my daughter's pain.
I played football with the lads in my class 4 or 5 times a day for anything up to an hour sometimes.
They'll never win. They will, they always win. No, they won't. Come on, we're going to be late for school.
Pain in my back was so bad I started crying in bed.
We had to put her to bed straight away, and we hoped that she would get better, but after a couple of days we had to take her to hospital.
Alison came to us complaining of chronic lumbar pain. This apparently was due to a stress fracture indicated here. These fractures cause considerable pain and inhibit spinal movement. I referred her to the Regional Specialist Spinal Centre for treatment and advice.
These small stress fractures seem to be causing the problem. The difficulty we face is that there's always a risk operating in the spinal area.
Can you do anything for her?
Well,
But she's in so much pain.
I'm afraid that at her age, it's just not worth the risk to do an operation.
What am I supposed to do?
Unfortunately, wait. We'll have to see how it develops. The best thing is to wait until you stop growing. Then it'll heal itself in time.
To be told that they couldn't do anything, well, just devastated.
Alison was only a teenager, and yet she was living the life of an elderly lady, almost a pensioner. She was going backwards and forwards to seeing specialists and doctors, and she just wasn't getting any better at all.
After suffering intense pain for 4 years, their best hope seemed to be Lorraine Ham.
When I found out my mum had actually written off to Lorraine Ham, I was surprised and hopeful.
I can see it's a bit painful.
When Alison first came to see me, she was in pain
close your
with her
eyes.
back.
Relax.
And I did healing work with her there and then.
I had my eyes closed and I could feel warm on the areas that she was healing.
Now I'm just going to put my hand under your waist.
A sensation of all the pain drifting away.
When I say open your eyes, open your eyes.
The session over, Alison and Christine went home.
When the warmth had gone and the pain had gone with it, and I could move around without any pain, it just felt brilliant.
I thought it was marvellous. I thought it was a miracle. Alison was doing things that she couldn't do before, and I'd got my daughter back.
I phoned Christine, and she told me that Alison was now doing PE and feeling much better.
Oh!
And did she need to come and see me again? And of course I said no.
Good pass.
I had the feeling of having my life back to normal, and I felt like a normal person again for the first time since I'd had the accident.
Out of the mountains of letters received every day, Lorraine spotted one written on Oldham Football Club headed paper. Nicola Fleming had written to her on behalf of her injured husband, Craig. Craig's career was rising fast. He commanded a regular first-team place and played against Manchester United in the 1994 FA Cup semi-final.
Been a frustrating day so far for Mark Hughes. He's been very well watched by Craig Fleming.
Rumours were spreading that United were interested in buying the young Oldham star. Everything was going right. And then disaster struck.
I was playing and just getting the odd niggling deep in the groin and round the hip. Gradually it just got worse and worse as I played. I was playing about 60 minutes. That was me gone when I was shot.
When it actually crept upon us that he couldn't play football anymore because the injury was so bad, he was just devastated and depressed.
It was obvious to us that He was never going to overcome these problems unless he had surgery.
Craig was sent for an operation to repair a torn abdominal muscle.
I was getting a shooting pain across the top of the abdomen. And that cleared that up, but I was still left with this pain in the groin and the hip.
This was a tremendous blow to the club because they had anticipated that he would, after this initial surgery, be back into the fray again.
He was just so fed up because he couldn't do anything about it.
Craig returned for a second operation, hoping it would clear his problems. It didn't.
I had the operation to release the tendon. I mean, that's released a lot of the pressure in there. There was still a pain. The specialist was saying that it wasn't a career-threatening injury, but, you know, after 3 or 4 months, you naturally start worrying about, how serious is it?
So when we heard about Lorraine Ham, we thought, well, why not give it a go?
Craig finally got to see Lorraine.
I'd like to lie down.
He was obviously concerned because he wasn't
Close your
able
eyes.
to play football.
Just relax.
If you're out for any length of time, there are other people coming up and taking your place. So on a mental, emotional level, there's always that worry, if you like.
I couldn't see what Lorraine was doing, because I obviously had my eyes closed.
Now I'm going to touch your leg.
I got like a strange tingling sensation. Just felt like very strong pins and needles.
I want you to stretch your fingers and your toes.
I was expecting it,
When I say
to be pins and needles, but as soon as I got and opened my eyes, it just disappeared. I've never experienced anything like it before.
Lorraine told Craig to go home and relax for the weekend.
I arrived at the club on Monday, went down to the physio room as usual.
Right, Craig, show them what you can do under your own steam.
I was a bit reluctant to try it at first. I let it go all the way down.
Down.
Brought it back up, and again, it was no pain at all.
No pain?
No, no.
Really?
It's fine, yeah, no pain. So, and then, I was just doing them all day. I was flabbergasted by it.
Very impressive. And rest there. It was certainly exciting for all of us to realise that Craig was more enthusiastic, able to do more, and in fact looking forward to his training for a change.
Propulsion. Go on, up in the air. That's it, go on. Leave.
Craig was improving, and it's quite exhilarating, and who cares what produces a result.
Now it's like, oh great, can't wait till next season. He's just so much happier, so much brighter about it all, and it's easy to live with.
I'd done all the physio, I'd been to see the surgeons. I'm absolutely convinced that Lorraine was the reason behind this pain going.
Skeptics of healing would say that all healers do is help people who already believe, but Lorraine is sure that her healing powers go further than that.
A person who is positive about his healing can improve more quickly than someone who isn't, but yet healing can still work with someone who is quite skeptical.
Lorraine also believes she can heal patients without them actually having to be there. This was the answer to the thousands of needy letters. And so the National Healing Centre in Shrewsbury was set up, and from here, absent healing is sent out.
We now have a network of healers all over the country who meditate regularly 3 times a day, and we focus on all the people who have written or telephoned and asked for help.
One such person was Ruth Dorrington, who'd badly hurt her hip.
I'm quite a serious club runner, and I train every day. So when I got injured, I had to cut my training right down. I was getting more frustrated, more depressed about not running properly and not racing.
I wrote to as many people as I could and informed them that I'd put them on an absent healing list. Ruth was one of those people.
In her letter, Lorraine told Ruth she would be on the list for 6 weeks.
It did seem that suddenly progress was all in the right direction, and for once I could actually think that I was going to recover completely. At the end of the 6-week period, I felt like I'd reached a stage where I could get back into a proper training schedule and race seriously. Being on the healing list was important, and I don't think it was like a psychosomatic thing. I thought, if there's lots of healers, then all that energy's got to be good, got to heal me, and it seemed to do the trick.
Ruth came out of her injury running better than ever. In fact, she broke several club records. And she believes it's all thanks to Lorraine Ham.
The question that must be asked is, would Lorraine's patients have got better anyway?